Guys, welcome back to the End Goal Podcast, the show where I like to have meaningful conversations with people about topics that I find interesting and or educative. Today we have Dr. Anahita with us. And
Hi.
I don't know which last name to use.
Oh, I only have one last name.
I forgot. I forgot if you kept or if you switched. I completely
I did not.
forgot.
Hey. Kalianivala earned the degree.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I did not change my name when I got married.
Yeah, that's also why I usually didn't change hers because she was
Yeah,
like, we already got all the paperwork done. I'm like, I don't. It's okay. We
good
don't
for
do the
you.
headache of doing everything else.
No.
Okay, so we have Dr. Anahita K here with us. And that's all the intro that I really want to talk about. So what I really want to talk to you about
Here I
is
am.
there you are. Can you, for the sake of the conversation, walk people through kind of like who you are
Yeah.
slash what you do?
Yeah. Okay, so my doctorate is in psychology, but please just call me Anahita on this podcast. I tell everybody to anyway. I am a clinical psychologist. I specialize in chronic pain and the worry that comes with it. In particular, I work with a lot of high functioning folks, people who are perfectionists like myself, and how the stress and tension can like build up in our body. Um, there's so much out there, right, about how autoimmune functioning, stress functioning can be so related to like our emotional state and then be created in our physical body. And so I love working in the intersection of that space. So that's a lot what I do on that front. How personal do you want me to get?
Yeah, I just want to know about Twig.
Twig ain't in here.
I know, and I wish he was. I
I
wish
know.
Twig was there.
I know. I wish Twig was in here too. He's probably taking a nap on the kitchen floor. Twig is a dog, for those who are wondering. He is named after the deer fox character in the Netflix show Hilda.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
I
he's a
don't.
magical creature.
Interesting. Okay. Well, guys, we're gonna have a great conversation ahead of us. But before we start that, and then I wanted to do something a bit more fun, which if you've been a regular here, we don't have fun like this. So we're doing a little bit of two truths and a lie, and the fun is that we're gonna
Spicy.
share our two truths and a lie, and you guys can figure out what the lie is. And at the end of the podcast, we will divulge the truth and the lie.
Yeah, fingers crossed we don't forget.
Honestly, that's so fair because I recorded a podcast yesterday where in the podcast I said, at the end of this, I'll show you guys XYZ thing.
Mhm.
And then I
You
said,
didn't.
and then I finished it, I said bye. I turned off all of my lights and everything.
Yep.
And then I came back to the camera and said, wait, just before I forget, I need to come back and say, here's what I forgot to tell you.
Yep.
So very prone to forgetting here. Um,
Fingers crossed.
but two truths and a lie. I'm gonna say Anahita's and she's gonna say mine. So I can start with Anahita's two truths and a lie. The first one, Anahita has 10 tattoos. The second one, Anahita was born in India. And the third one is that Anahita's not a cat person.
It sounded like you said I'm on a cat person.
Sorry, Anahita's not a cat person.
Thank you for
Yeah,
clarifying for the people in the back.
yeah. We know my enunciation can take some work.
I was like, wait. I am not on a cat person.
Yeah,
All right. My turn.
yeah.
All right. Here we go. Arish is addicted to working and is a yellow belt in Taekwondo and has known me since I was a freshman in high school.
So there you have it, guys. If you missed that, rewind, listen to it again, and at the end, we will tell you guys the truth or the lie
Hmm.
and the lie, one of the two, maybe all three.
I mean, we might get in a fight
We
about what's even truth is before we
Oh,
get to
that'd be
the end.
great. That'd be great.
Yeah.
We should do in the middle so we can actually get that fight on.
There
But
you go.
I I wanted to ask initially because I just think in the time that we've known each other, I don't know if I necessarily asked why you decided to go into psychology.
It is interesting that you are asking me that because when I was talking to my husband this morning about being on the podcast, he asked me the same question, just sort of as like a mental prep.
Hmm.
Um, so, originally, like origin story is I was in college and I kind of knew I liked writing. I kind of knew I liked psychology, but I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with either of those. And then I had this fantastic opportunity to do a summer camp where I was like a counselor for kids who were adopted at later ages, which of course is a risk factor for development and psychology and all that stuff.
What is
Um,
later ages?
like age 5, age
Okay.
7, from orphanages, I should specify. These were international adoptions. So the circumstances under which they were living, it's not like they were in a foster home being raised
Hmm.
by like, more direct one on one care. It was like one caregiver to 12 infants,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
pretty tough circumstances. And the camp was all about helping the kids who had behavioral problems because of that adjustment and adjusting to the United States because all of the families that adopted were US families.
Hmm.
So that was one half is like working with the kids behaviorally, and the other half was working with the parents on the adjustment pieces. And I was just so fascinated by the system, right? The whole system, the sense of transition, how we can create growth out of something really, really crummy.
Hmm.
Um, and to be fair, excuse me, when I was 20 years old, I don't think I would have said that. I don't think I would have said, like, oh, this is all about post traumatic growth. I think I can just look back and see how my career has evolved and what I love to do and who I love to help.
Hmm.
Um, and know that that's a through line of like helping people walk through the really hard parts and then find healing on the other side. Like
Mm.
that's what feels true of why I do what I do. But interestingly, what I do now looks really different on the face of it. So that experience inspired me to apply to a PhD program for clinical psychology. I went in thinking I'm going to work with kids. I'm going to be the one with like the kooky skirts and the bold earrings. And as a virtual therapist, I still do the bold earrings because they're really the main way I can show my outfit. Um, but yeah, my work ended up shifting a lot into adult space and then into healthcare. And now it's kind of evolved to I want to help the people who like really want to jump up that next level. They've kind of done a lot of work by themselves, and now it's just their own inner voices getting in the way. And so how do we make that good for them? My work has evolved quite a bit from where it started. But I love the journey, and honestly, I feel like it's this lived evidence I have of like you can make one choice on this part of the path here and then you have no idea where it's going to end up. So don't stress about where it's going to end up.
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
um long-term goals are amazing, and sometimes we just have the next right step. And I think so many of my clients need that when it comes to like healing from chronic illness, from chronic pain, managing chronic health. um, so I'm grateful that I have that experience, that lived experience of yeah, sometimes it's just going to be like what you can do today and what you can do tomorrow.
I'm trying to like think of a smart way to say this, but I think we both know that I'm not the sharpest tool in the tool shed. So I'm just gonna say like, how
Do it.
does like what someone thinks or whatever affect like the chronic pain part? Like what like chronic pain as in like consistent headache, migraines, or chronic pain
Sure.
as in like tension like in the shoulders and always feeling like
Yep.
tight and things like that. Like is all that kind of what you're talking about in the realm of chronic pain?
Yeah, absolutely. So I kind of came up through the lineage of working in chronic pain through medical settings. So I've seen stuff that is like secondary to injury, things that, happened after a traumatic event. But chronic pain, by definition, is pain that keeps going for more than 6 months and that keeps going past where we would think healing is, right? So, for point being, 6 months is not very helpful. So many
Mm-hmm.
people I work with have been dealing with chronic pain for decades on and off. Other people have been dealing with it maybe for like 6 weeks, but it's still really impacting their life.
Mm-hmm.
The definition I like to use is it's the pain that keeps going after the healing should have happened or when healing actually has happened. So, my
Mm-hmm.
favorite example is to use a paper cut. We all know that a paper cut hurts like a mother when it happens,
Yeah.
but then you notice it, you clean it, you put a band aid on it, and you're like, what paper cut? Right? Like how fast that sensation is not a problem anymore
Yeah.
is like proof of the mind body connection. when it comes to pain. And then if that paper cut was hurting 4 weeks later, yes, something would be wrong, right? Something is off.
Okay, so then that's where you step in.
Right. So let's talk about like what the connection is
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Pain is a signal that comes from the brain. And it is a signal that is essentially alerting potential threat, actual threat, danger, damage. So going back to paper cut, I get paper cut, I have like damage to skin, right? And at the level of my finger, that's electrical signals. Those electrical signals are sending information up into my spinal cord and then into my brain. And I'm going to oversimplify it, of course. But the gist is, it may not, that signal may not even get to my brain if my spinal cord doesn't let the information up. There's actual chemical channels at the base of our spine that like allow something in or out. If people want to go get nerdy about it, you can look up gate control theory. But the
Gate control?
gate, gate
Interesting.
control
Okay.
theory. Um, But so that let's say that signal is allowed to travel up through the spine, then it lands in my brain. Now my brain is doing kind of the algorithm, if you will, of is this dangerous or is this not dangerous? If it's not dangerous, no biggie. I feel nothing. This would be an interpretation that our brain might make if we are, let's say, in the garage working on our car, having a gay old time, and we like actually do hit our elbow or arm pretty bad and we're bleeding, but we have no idea
Mm-hmm.
because the brain did not register that sensation as threatening or dangerous in the moment, or just not important enough in the moment. And so we don't feel pain. But let's say in the situation of the paper cut, brain's like, oh shit, something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then it generates that sensation in the map of our body that lives in our brain.
Mm.
People sometimes talk about this idea of like the pain signal goes back down.
Yeah.
It's also an oversimplification. But anyway, so then I feel something out
Mm-hmm.
in my finger.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens? What do you think would happen if you got a paper cut
Okay,
and
so
they
my
made
next question was gonna be this. Because there's many times when I'll just like look at my fingers and I'll see that I have cuts on them just from either the books or opening letters or anything random.
mm-hmm,
And I never knew when I got that, how it happened. It's just there.
mm-hmm.
It's not bleeding. It's a flesh
Sure.
wound. It's fine. But
Just your basic flesh wound.
yeah, it's chill. Um, and then when I start touching it, I'm like, oh, this still doesn't hurt. Like nothing hurts about this at all as I'm touching it, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
What was your question?
What was your question?
Well, my question was gonna be
My
why, because
right.
well, I was
My
thinking
question
that
was,
like,
what do you do when you feel a paper cut? And you pivoted to tell us that something's wrong and broken in your system, and you don't feel the cuts when they happen.
see, there was a link somewhere. My question was gonna be like, yeah, why is it that like certain shallow like cuts just don't even register when they happen, and then
Mm-hmm.
certain ones do, and it could be that
Yeah,
it's deep enough to actually cause like a maybe a danger trigger versus other ones are like, yeah, this has just happened so many times that my
it's
body at this
context.
point doesn't register
It's
the same.
context. Context matters so much. So
Mm-hmm.
remind me to come back to this. Let me finish the idea around, right, what happens when we feel that sensation in the finger. Let's assume your body was functioning like this example needs it to, and
Mm-hmm.
you feel a paper cut
Yeah.
right away, right? First thing that we usually do is we look at it, right? We look at the thing to assess how bad is this. Even our judgment of how bad it is, whatever we see, is going to impact then the next piece of information our brain takes in of, oh, do I hype up the danger or do I downgrade the danger? So context. And then research has actually shown, just to further prove the context point, that paper cuts are rated as more painful in a work environment than they are in a home environment,
Mm,
because work comes with more stress,
I
more
see.
threat, more performance pressure, literally,
Mm-hmm.
right? Even if we think of the most like concrete way of why paper cuts matter more at work, well, so much of our lives for most people's jobs are typing or using our hands,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's labor or computer work, if you want to, compare those, we need these.
Yeah.
And so to not have full function of these is a threat.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the brain's main job is to protect us. So anytime it's alerting us to danger, it's aiming to do that for our good, right? Hey, I need you to see this so you can protect it and stop anything worse from happening. And then when you meet that goal, no biggie. That's why a band aid takes the pain of a paper cut away.
Yeah. Do you
So
think,
back to your point,
yeah,
if
context
you want.
or my, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Were you going to
Um,
ask me something else?
I was gonna say two things because the first thing you said when you were talking about context of like we look and we assess to see is this an actual issue or not. And
Mm-hmm.
the first thing I thought of was when you have like infants who like fall and then they look up and then they see the reactions of the adults. And
Mm-hmm.
if the adults are like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, are you hurt? Are you okay? Then they start like crying or whatever.
Yep.
Or if the adults are like, you're fine.
Get up.
And then they're like, okay, cool, I'm fine. And then, and that.
100%.
So it kind of made
Yeah.
me think like that's kind of how, what the same thing that we're doing.
You are absolutely, you're pulling an example out of classes that I've taught. Um, Social context matters a ton,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we are young and we are looking to our caregivers to see what is dangerous, what is right and wrong, right? What do I need to be concerned about? How am I supposed to react? We could even, the same thing is happening even in a non pain context. The example I
Mm-hmm.
usually offer is a little kid is at a family reunion hanging out among a bunch of adults with a balloon. Now,
Mm-hmm.
this kid's a lot shorter. The balloon is maybe adult height, and they're standing in a circle, and the balloon pops. Now, most of us would probably find that to be startling. And depending on our individual startle response, some people might scream, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most adults are just going to have like a relatively neutral response. But the kid doesn't know what to do yet. So the kid is doing exactly what you said, looking up and around. Who can I trust in this environment? And what are they cueing? This isn't a
Mm-hmm.
conscious process,
Yeah.
right? It just happens automatically.
Mm,
And then with
interesting.
repetition, we learn. We learn how to cope with pain. We learn how to cope with stress. We learn how to cope with tension, with
Mm-hmm.
risk.
The other thing you said was like our brain will alert us to danger,
Mm.
but you didn't really phrase it as like your brain's the one who's immediately going to take care of that also. It's just here's the alert, and then it's like second phase is what do you want to do with it, right?
Right.
Because
How do you
because
respond?
because it there's so much. I didn't know about this until I think maybe like the last year and a half of what you said about your brain wants to take care of you. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it can like form thoughts, change memories, edit things that are inside or edit signals to make sure that like I detect a danger. Here's a signal for you to take that danger seriously as opposed to disregard it or whatever it is. So it's gonna like
Right.
it's gonna make you do something that you yourself may not have wanted to do or thought to do or thought you were even doing. And is there like a is there a way not to like shut that off, but to not like fall into that as much?
Sure. Sure, as in I hear your question, not sure as in I have an easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
I want to offer a disclaimer that so much of this is like absolutely captivating and there's so much science around it. And I'm not a neuroscientist. I don't hold all of it,
Yeah.
right? I hold what is important for my clients to know and make use of. So, again, I just want to offer that disclaimer that there are probably wiser people than me to answer some of the specifics here. But the way I like to think about it is the brain's number one job is survival,
Mm-hmm.
right? And in different seasons of life, we can have different threats to that survival, but the brain is plastic. It learns over time and it learns with repetition, as is our nervous system. Our nervous system learns with time and with repetition. So anything that is repeated a bunch is potentially going to change a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, if I'm a person who grew up in a really chaotic or violent environment, my sense of how threatening that is or how on guard my nervous system needs to be is going to be different than a person who never watched parents yell at each other,
Mm-hmm.
never saw any other fights outside the home, right? Just to give
Mm-hmm.
a simple example. So even that baseline of what gets registered as dangerous can depend on our environment. And then, right, we carry stories and experiences of, well, how did the coping strategy that my brain automatically gave me, how did it work for me? So let's imagine a person, a child with a dysfunctional parent. You can picture whatever dysfunction you like in your mind. And this child learns the way to stay safe around my dysfunctional parent is actually to be as quiet as possible, because my dysfunctional parent is unpredictable. And if they're unpredictable, then my safety relies on going unnoticed.
Mm.
Sense making?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, if that works, then that strategy gets encoded as like, yep, that's a safe behavior. Now, fast forward to this adult, this now adult, let's say, is free from harm as related to the dysfunctional parent, all things considered, right? Whether they're just in no contact, parents no longer living, whatever the case is. But they're still doing this thing in relationship to stay safe, of being really quiet, of not saying what they want or need. And they're like, I'm so fucking unsatisfied.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why can't I feel good in my relationships? Well, that's because this old behavior that worked really well then is still hanging around unchecked potentially, but it doesn't fit this environment anymore because you're no longer under the same threat.
And maybe it doesn't fit the person that you're trying to be either.
Right. Or the person that you're interacting with, because
Right.
they're not the same threat that your parent was. Now, again,
Mm.
all of this can be happening unconsciously,
Yeah.
but this is exactly the work I do with my clients, right? So, to answer, coming back to your question of like, how do we stop our brain from doing that automatic thing? Two things that are really important, I believe. One, your brain did it for a reason. So, we're not going to jump to like guilt and shame and blame.
Mm-hmm.
And two, can you get curious about why it was happening, so that you can kind of understand, okay, why is it happening now? And also, who do I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And then how do we bridge the gap? Like, how
So
do we
then
get you there?
why are how are I guess why or how are high functioning people like more affected by this, or
Mm.
like what are their like behaviors, personalities, like what's going on with them to where they maybe need extra assistance in this realm to like feel normal or feel back to themselves or a new normal, whatever it is.
Yeah. I think one part is kind of, again, questioning the origin story. Where is the high functioning behavior coming from? So,
Okay.
was it born out of external pressure, right? Did you explicitly receive messages that you have to make X grades or you have to perform? Was it an implied message? You never got told that you were creative or fun loving. You only got told you're a very good student. And so
Mm-hmm.
you learned performing is how I get attention and care and love,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or a myriad other options. But I do think that part matters, right? The healing path out sometimes matters in terms of what story we picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And that is I got distracted by the awe I have for some of my clients and how willing they are to kind of go there and figure out, okay, what is the story I'm carrying? And then at the same time, the willingness they have to be like, I don't want to keep holding that story. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to let go if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I might have lost track of your question. Why does this matter for high functioning people? Well, I'm just kind of curious to start. Are you borrowing that because I said I help high functioning people? Or do you feel like that's true of your life experience too? Like, do you see that high functioning people struggle to kind of get out of
It's
their own
both.
way?
It's kind of touching on like, I guess, if that is a larger sector of people that you like to help and work with, in combination with me seeing it in my own
Yeah.
like environment and life, whatever it is. um there seems to be a lot of talk, not talk maybe, but I guess the information that I consume is also about high functioning people, right? I'm not saying that I am one, but I do believe that like a lot of what I consume, whether it's articles, posts, podcasts, videos, whatever it is, it's somehow always gone back to like high functioning people, whether it's high functioning
Okay.
in business, high functioning in relationships, high functioning in one thing or the other, right? It's not really about kind of like laissez faire people, or not really
Right.
about um, normal people in a sense, right?
Yeah,
So
well, no, I wouldn't say normal
that's
because
actually
who's
fair.
normal?
That's a good
And,
point. That's a
but
very good point. Sorry, guys.
no, you're good. I'm laughing because I'm thinking about how ignorance is bliss,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I think there are some common factors among people who tend to be high functioning, high achieving, overachieving, having high standards, right? There's lots of different phrases we can use that might resonate with people. Some of those are that these people are striving for a standard. There's a rule in their head that they're trying to make sure they hit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this could be a rule that they are aware of or aren't aware of. It could be a rule that they know someone told them or that they just absorbed from their environment.
Mm-hmm.
But everything's trying to measure up to that. There's a bunch of shoulds in their mind all the time. There's also a degree of constantly analyzing and critiquing. Have I hit the standard? Am I doing a good enough job? If I didn't hit the standard, how can I do better next time? Why did I even mess it up in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
All of that evaluation and critique is essentially feeding the brain danger signals, right? To say it again, making a leap. But the way I describe it is anything that has the possibility to increase your sense of stress or threat or danger can increase your pain or tension or anxiety because those systems are linked, right? If I'm constantly worried that I'm not doing a good job because I have these rules about how I'm supposed to be or who I'm supposed to be or how people should see me and what being successful means, if I'm constantly analyzing and looking for evidence that I'm not doing a good enough job, because that's kind of how the perfectionistic mind works. You can never be perfect, you're never getting it
Mm-hmm.
right. Then you're just drumming up a whole lot of tension.
Mm-hmm.
So, coming to the question I think you were asking me, or maybe the question I heard, yeah, a lot of people with chronic pain struggle with perfectionism, in my
Mm-hmm.
experience. And there's actually research starting to come out around it that perfectionism, self criticism, or a lack of self compassion is correlated with increased struggle with chronic pain. And I do see that it tends to be something that gets in the way of people's recovery. A lot of people will kind of arrive to me saying, I've done the self help stuff. I've done what they say to do, and I've maybe gotten 70, 80% there, but now I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Mm.
often is those standards that can get in the way.
Do you feel like people carry those standards because it really helps them in one aspect of like their life, which is like, hey, I I built this thing. I'm a career person, or I'm
Mhm.
really good at, like, my entire family is great and everybody's happy, but I still feel like I'm managing everything. And if somebody's upset, then I have to take care of it. Or if something goes wrong in the business, I have to take care of it, or whatever it is. But like that perfectionism helps them get there in a way,
That is one of the
is what they think.
hardest. Yeah, that's one of the
Um,
hardest things about perfectionism is how deeply rewarded it is in our society.
mhm.
Right? So
And
kind of what
yeah.
you're naming, like if I'm the person who can always pick up the slack and then I do, well, problems get solved or avoided. People rely on me. They tell me I'm doing a good job. They say that they're grateful for how I did that.
Mhm.
And it's kind of a vicious cycle because then if you just want to be a normal human for a day and let something go, people are so used to seeing you in that space, seeing you pick up the slack, that they're like, where were you?
Mhm.
And then you feel punished that you didn't do a good
Yeah.
enough job. Or maybe
I
that's just me.
yeah. I know. I feel like one of the weird things that I have in my brain, and one of my friends talked about it too to me, of like, we had this call scheduled for today, and this is afternoon time when we're doing this. But for some reason, when I was online working today, I was trying not to work too hard so I wouldn't get sucked down into like a work thing and lose track of time, or I wouldn't
Hmm.
drain all of my energy doing work things and then not have the energy and the presence and stuff to be here. So like I worked for like 2 hours, and at did nothing for like 3 hours in anticipation or self-proclaimed prep for this,
Mm-hmm.
versus another part of me, a smaller part of me, but I think maybe the part of me that I wanted to listen to was like, no, just do the work that you have to do, put an alarm, stop at that alarm time, and then step away, and then come back to this, and I still would have gotten done things that I need to get done. But now I have 3 hours of work that I didn't do, which means that work's going to have to be done at some other point in the future. Therefore, I'm
Okay.
pushing it off. We're doing
Yeah.
this, and then afterwards, it'll be evening time, which means I'm not going to do work. My wife's going to come home, and then we're gonna have like a Friday night or whatever. Um, and so like it almost felt like, because in anticipation for not messing this up in a way, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything else. But
Yeah.
I feel like I do that a lot. Or if I have like an appointment at like 11 a.m. for something that I have to do, I don't work from like 10 to 11 for some reason, because I'm so afraid of. And it has happened in the past where when I was doing speech coaching back in the spring at the same time that I was had my work busy season, where one of the days I completely like did not see the calendar invite, did not set an alarm, and I was just working, answering meetings and everything. And so I missed the entire session.
Mm.
Didn't see her
Yeah.
email, whatever it is, right? So I feel like a lot of the times when it comes to people with perfectionism, they have those moments that they're like, oh, I dropped the ball and it felt
And
really
then you
bad.
way overcorrect.
And then you aggressively overcorrect to never drop the ball again.
Yep.
Because we don't know, like, okay, well, I can still correct in some ways, but then leave space for if the ball is dropped, it's not the end of the world again.
Right. And I think a theme I've noticed, and I should out myself as a recovering perfectionist, I absolutely identify with the things that I'm naming. Um, is that sometimes it comes down to like, it's this really subtle thing. It's not like I tell myself all the time, you're untrustworthy, I don't trust you or anything, but it's like, holy shit, do I not trust myself?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, do I not trust myself to repair or to fix if I make a mistake
Mm-hmm.
or to play catch up if
Mm-hmm.
I forget to do something? Right? Like, where is the evidence in my life that I won't make up the difference?
There's a book that I read last year, Five Types of Wealth, Saho Bloom, and it's one that I annotate. So I have on one of the chapters talking about a life razor, which is like the thing that will frame the rest of your behaviors. A razor being like, I'm a person who will always plan that date night every week for me and my wife or whatever. That's an
Mm-hmm.
example. It's not mine, but that's an example. But I was reading through it yesterday, and I saw this sticking out at the end of the chapter, and it kind of choked me up a bit because it said, I'm not going to set a life razor because I know I'm not a man of my word. And that was me like 2025, early like spring or whatever. Um, and I think what hurt was like I didn't feel like I was that much different now
Mm-hmm.
either, right? So it's things like that where it's like, oh yeah, because you mess up or you don't do this, or you'll do it for a little bit and then you'll drop the ball or whatever, and then somebody will, you know, voice their complaints, and you would rather not hear the complaint. Therefore, you do whatever you can to not hear the complaint. It's not
Yep.
about like, I want to do the thing because I want to do it. It's I want to do the thing so that I don't feel the bad thing that happens if I don't do it,
Right.
or
Avoiding
that
that
kind of thing.
discomfort. Yeah.
Um, and so I've seen a lot of that in people around me too. Of I think
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a little bit of that, and then some people who are high functioning perfectionist or just have carry a lot of that weight, they like lean more into that.
Yeah. I think you're so right about like the subtle razor, right? That you don't
Mm-hmm.
even know you're holding, but then you've just got this collection of them
Yeah, yeah.
and you like don't have time and energy for other stuff because here you are holding all of these rules.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wild how subtle and easy the rules can become. I so my brain is the type that like if I notice something is off or could be more efficient, I'll latch on right away and I'll make it more efficient. Um to like I remember in grad school there was a hallway that had two double doors and um there was like a really big pull to turn the corner around the joint of
Mm-hmm.
the double doors. And I was constantly moving really fast, obviously, right? I got places to be and shit to do, and people better get out of my way. There were probably like 3 or 4 times when I first started in the program that
Mm-hmm.
I ran into the corner with my body because I was just
Yeah.
moving so fast. That did not happen a fifth time. I started reaching my arm out to
Mm.
push myself like off and around the
I see.
corner. And I look back and I'm just like, I mean, I'm proud of you, brain, but what the hell? Like, why
Mm-hmm.
was that something we were expending energy on? Why couldn't you just slow your feet down?
Yeah.
And so double edged sword,
Yeah.
right? That there are these powerhouse gifts in the things that make us successful perfectionists, but then there's also this pain that can come with it. My recent thing has been constantly talking to my devices, aka Siri, to remind me of things
Mm-hmm.
because running a business is hard and
Yeah.
it's happening around the clock.
Yeah.
And so if I don't want to pick something up or do something in the moment, I'll ask Siri to remind me later. And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's a way for me to not be a workaholic.
Yeah.
And then it turned into Siri, remind me to move the clothes from the washer to the dryer.
Mm.
Siri, remind me to give the dog a bath, or just really small stuff that I then started to question, like, do you really not trust yourself to remember this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you losing faith in your memory?
Mm-hmm. You know what's really funny is while I and everybody faces the same things where I guess the question is, do you not trust yourself to remember? I've just like in order to not fall so far into the pit, I just accepted like these 5, 6, 7 things in my life. I'm just not gonna worry about it. So if I do turn on the washer, and I've complained to my mom about this. I was like, yeah, we left it on, like we left it like and during the day, and we just never went back and moved it to like the dryer. We just both of us completely forgot about it. And she's like, oh well, you could always just set a timer on your phone. I'm like, I could. It would ensure that I do it, but I
Yeah,
kind of like having like you clean up all the mess on the floor because the mess was moved to the closet. Well, maybe that's not the case. It's more so like I just like having some inefficiencies around me
I
to
get
like
it.
to, to
And
like to, like, to like keep the friction going.
to let go a little bit,
Yeah,
right? Because otherwise it's constant churning of what do I do next? What do I do next? What have I not done? What could I make more efficient? Yeah, it's kind of funny. I think there are some things that I'm really particular about in my environment, and then there are other things that I'm just like a total slob about. And I think it's this polarity. It's
yeah, yeah,
like I just can't be bothered about everything, and I know I
yeah,
can't.
yeah. It's like directional perfection. Um, but I take the content aesthetics very seriously. But the one thing that I just refuse to be a perfectionist about is like quote unquote lighting. And so and by that I mean not like what you see, but while I do have a box right here, I could get a newer one, a better one that has better controls and that does the thing perfectly that I wanted to do, and I maybe never have to deal with it again, and all it would cost me is like a couple $100 or
Mhm.
less or whatever. And so this is how I look right now. This is how I look without the thing, right? I just because I don't have like a softening device on my light. It's just a sharp light that would be on my face. Yeah, I just put a white trash bag over it and clipped it. And I'm like, these like inefficient things is
Yes.
what like I enjoy about the process sometimes.
Mhm.
Of like, oh, I do have some friction to get everything set up because
Yeah.
then once the friction's done, then I'm like locked in. But like,
Yeah.
you know,
Also, I mean, whose definition are we using of efficiency? Because I think that's pretty damn efficient. You didn't have to spend more money. You didn't have to get a new product. You didn't have to set it all up. You didn't have to
also
figure out
true.
what to do with the old product.
Also true. Also very true, and it could be like just like a different form of like I do like to make things with my hands. I'm not
Mhm.
a handyman in any way, form, or fashion, but you make that like you make the smallest random thing work more efficiently for yourself, and you're like,
I
I'm
get
that
that.
guy. I'm that guy. I'm him. I really am.
Yeah.
Um, so, oh, and another thing that I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Oh, do you ever see, and I know this is not the maybe the most accurate term, but it's the only term I can think of how to describe it.
All
But
good.
like, do you see like addictive personalities in people with perfectionism, or like
Mm.
people who show perfectionist tendencies to also have like hyper focused or like addictive personalities?
It's a really interesting question. I would say that I have people who will tell me that they relate that way. I wouldn't
Mm,
say it's something that I have like noticed as a
mm-hmm,
important theme. I think more so what I notice is, for lack of a better word, rigidity,
mm-hmm,
right? And so do I think that the rigidity can play in? Yeah, right, because rigidity can on a behavioral level can turn into compulsion.
mm-hmm,
If I have to keep everything, if I'm the person who's tidy, right? Let's say that that is my rigidness. And
mm-hmm.
let's even take away rigid and just say rule. That's my rule. I'm the
Yeah.
person who's tidy. Well, that's going to take some energy and some exertion, right? That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't happen naturally. It's going to take effort. I'm going to have to do things to be the tidy one. You look like you're looking at a mess on your desk.
No, sorry. I have my phone on do not disturb, but my wife is the emergency contact. So no matter how I keep my phone, I will just if she messages in our group chat for something, my just I just go to make sure it's not like an emergency,
It's okay.
and
I was
then
just
yeah,
teasing you.
yeah.
So
But
where
I
was
do
I?
have a slight mess. Actually, I have a very slight mess on the desk, but I don't
Mhm.
like having an unkempt working environment.
Oh, I
Um,
love it. I love my piles. There's just something about my piles, man. And then I know where stuff is, and people fuck with my piles, and I'm like, well, now I don't know
well,
where anything is.
I think unkempt is different from your own personal organization. I just don't like having random
That's
things
generous.
everywhere, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I'm not the person who keeps like food containers on my desk or
No, I
keeps
don't
like
do that.
random papers and stuff. Like they will all be put away, and only thing on my desk is things that I look at. I'm like, I need to use that right now.
No,
I
there's
always
papers.
I always have this on my desk because I
Yep.
know I'm a fidgeter, and so I always just grab this to mess with. There you go. I love a good cube.
So I think I was talking about rigidity in a rule,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So,
cleaning.
right. If my rule is I am a tidy person, I'm going to have to engage in behavior to keep that up.
Hmm.
So something's going to have to give unless I want to constantly be tidying.
Right.
I'm either going to have to soften the rule or I'm going to have to soften the behavior. Right?
Hmm.
Or like, let me rephrase that actually. I'd have to soften the rule that maybe I'm not always tidy so that I get a break from behavior and I can do other things with my time and energy. Or if I'm really rigid about the rule, other things are going to lose out. I'm going to
Right.
be compulsively cleaning,
Yeah.
right? So
That
coming
just
back,
reminds me of my
you kind of
father.
you asked about this like notion of does that overlap with addictive personalities? I mean, I'm not a personality expert. I don't
Mhm,
know that I need to comment on like whether that's actually a principle.
mhm,
Um, but I do think that there are predispositions, right?
mhm,
There's a set of circumstances that can lead somebody to being more susceptible to chemical coping,
mhm,
more susceptible to like getting caught in a behavioral pattern and having trouble getting out of it,
mhm,
even getting caught in a mental pattern and having trouble getting out of
mhm.
it. Um, so in that way, right? Like I'm a person who can pick up really easily on rules that I set for myself.
Yeah,
You try to set a rule for me, good luck, right? But if I set the rule for myself, then I'm going to have to like work to not always follow it.
I see. You said something about coping just right there,
Mhm.
and that was gonna be one of the other things that I wanted to ask you is, like, can you, like, define what coping is? 'Cause
Mm.
I do with the amount of time that I spend online, not chronically, but a lot, and I just feel like there's certain words that have been maybe diluted or just warped, and I don't always know what is the actual definition of this word, how maybe should it be used versus how it is
Yeah.
used. So like how can like how can we think about coping actually?
So when I think about coping, to be fair, right, I'm wearing my clinical hat when that word comes up. And
Mhm.
so when I think about coping, I think about there's some discomfort present.
Mm-hmm.
and I need to know how to move through
Mm-hmm.
it, deal with it, be with it. Right. So, in that sense, coping can mean a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm trying to actively reduce that discomfort. Sometimes I'm trying just not to escalate the discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm trying to just observe it and ride the wave of it, regardless of what direction that it moves.
Mm-hmm.
Then pull in contextual environmental factors, right? Am I at work and trying to figure out what to do? Am I in a social environment with friends and trying to figure out what to do? Am I at home by myself and trying to figure out what to do? Um, so it's curious to me that you named that coping can get diluted, because on the flip side, I realize I'm offering that it's so nuanced, it maybe doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have a singular answer either.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think, just to riff off that idea of words that get diluted, nervous system regulation gets diluted.
Mm-hmm.
And I deeply believe that. And then I ironically named a program of mine Regulate. So here we
Yeah.
are. And here we are leaning into imperfection of like, well, I'm not going to change the name of that program.
Mm-hmm.
But, um, this notion that if my nervous system gets dysregulated or elevated, that means something's bad.
Yeah.
That's not accurate. Our nervous system is designed, again, to alert us to potential threat, stress, or danger,
Mm-hmm.
right? If something changes in the environment, we are biologically wired to assess if that is going to threaten us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's normal, natural that we have an escalation in our stress response when something changes. And then it's normal, natural that we have a de escalation when the threat is gone or when we've assessed it, when we've solved the problem, whatever the case is. But I think regulation can get bastardized, frankly, into this
Yeah.
notion of you're just always supposed to be even killed. You're just always
Yeah.
supposed to feel good. You're always supposed to be calm. You're always supposed to be at peace. No, you're supposed to be able to move, right? To
Mm-hmm.
fluctuate. A healthy functioning nervous system is one that moves and changes and
But
responds.
how does that change when it's two people who maybe one person has that, or maybe both people don't have that healthy fluctuation and that movement, but
Mhm.
they still need to coexist. So it's like I think about it as like almost like two waves crashing, but they don't crash in the same way. So like one wave overtakes the other at any given time, and it feels kind of like a seesaw effect.
Yeah.
Um,
Or like a cacophony, right? If you're thinking
yeah,
of
yeah,
sound
yeah,
waves that
yeah,
are just
like
like
just a
not in
lot.
sync with each other.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of dissonance.
Exactly. A lot of dissonance. Yeah. Is there a situation that you're thinking of or just like in general what happens when two people are dysregulated?
I just think of like in general because you can think of it as like either like at home in a relationship in a marriage, or you can think of
Mhm.
it at work with colleagues, or you can think of it like in a relationship with friends, and like you can
Yeah.
see it anywhere when there's like two people who just we always say that they don't mesh well,
Mm.
but it feels like there's just different emotions happening to them at the same
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
like,
funny
okay,
that
what do we
you're
do here?
as
I'm trying to listen to you, but I can't listen to you, and I can't do anything, and I don't know what to do, and now I'm just trying to say what I want to say, and you're trying to say what you want to say, and no one's
yeah,
listening.
right, right. And I think that relates kind of both to coping and to nervous system, right?
Mm,
Cuz nervous system is kind of like the unconscious part.
mm-hmm,
Your nervous system is just reacting to something that it perceives as threatening, right? Like let's pretend we're talking about like two coworkers in a work
mm-hmm,
environment and something went wrong on a project that they're on a team with together and they're trying to like suss out responsibility.
mm-hmm,
So both people are feeling kind of accused, defensive, sensitive to criticism. Maybe they have their own personal histories of how they've had those things in the past. Maybe one person had a really, really critical parent. And so
mm-hmm.
getting any kind of critique sort of rubs them the wrong way and they don't
Yeah.
even catch it. They just, 0 to 100. Uh, Maybe the other person is used to being talked over. And so they feel like they have to assert really loudly.
Mm,
That's kind of their defensive posture. Both people have a defensive posture, which makes sense in the situation. But then those things aren't compatible. And so, yeah, I think the situation you're commenting on has one part that neither of them is really aware of, but then has this other part of just basic communication.
Mhm.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
what do we do when we can't get our point across? Or what do we do when we feel like we can't receive somebody else's point?
Yeah.
Um, I think the easiest thing I could offer if someone who was listening was actually like, shit, I recognize that. What do I do? Take a breather.
Mhm.
Say, hey, can we pause? I need a break.
Yeah.
Can you give me 60 seconds? I'm going to walk away and then I'm going to come right back.
Mhm.
Because there's also this like responsibility part. You have to take responsibility for what you can and can't hold.
Mhm.
And I think there's so much implied in our world. You should be able to hold and handle everything.
Yeah.
It's like, no, sometimes I just have to take care of me and resource me enough to then
Mhm.
come back and do the thing that you would like me to do.
Yeah. That's a very, like, I love that concept slash idea of you need to take care of yourself in order to be able to take care of others. There was a story that I heard, like, years ago, and I don't remember who it was, where it was, whatever it is, but it was a man talking about, I take, like, periodic just solo weekend trips, like,
Mhm.
away from, like, wife and kids because I just need a specific amount of alone time periodically. And when I wasn't getting that, I was very, like, short and very, like, just not a great person to be around, and it was affecting my family, my relationship, and life at home or whatever. So I decided to have the conversation with my wife and say, I think I need this.
Mhm.
And years after, when he was talking, like, maybe it was on a podcast or an interview or whatever, and he was saying, like, now I do these periodic ones, and I plan it with my wife. We plan it to where it's not around any major things, but it's my getaway to go do things solo or just have like a solo weekend or like a
Yeah.
day, and then I can come back, and then I can be the father and the husband and all that stuff that they also want me to be and that I want to be. But I need to have that conversation to say I just need to step away for a
I love
prolonged
that.
amount of time. And some people might hear that and think, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you marry this person and build this family if you have to be away from them? And it's like, well, no, it's not that I want to be away from them. It's like
Yeah.
I just need a little bit of solo me, and because some people
Mhm.
also like being by themselves.
I think there's so much to be said for the fact that different people's energies move different ways, need different
Hmm.
things to be resourced.
Hmm.
And again, not to sound like a broken record, but it comes back to context.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure everybody listening can think about a person that you maybe couldn't spend more than 2 hours consecutively with before you're like crawling out of your skin
Yeah.
versus the person who, even when you already do feel like you're crawling out of your skin, you can sit on the couch next to them.
Hmm.
Right. And it, there are different ways that our energies meld with each other. There are different ways that we feel resourced and supported. And I mean, it's funny as you were describing the situation of the story that you heard, I was thinking about, more words that get muddled sometimes, being an extrovert versus being an introvert.
Hmm.
I hate that.
Oh,
Like,
literally
it's
the other night we were at dinner with friends, and my friends were like, "Well, I learned something new today. I learned that Arsh's wife is an extrovert and he's an introvert." And I looked at it, I was like, I don't think that's right. But
yeah.
at the same time, do do I have a social battery around people that gets drained aggressively depending on who I'm with? And do I need a lot of alone
Yeah.
time? Yes. And they're like, well, and I was trying to explain all that to them. I was like, I don't think I would have a podcast and or make content online and or reach out to so many different random people on the internet to try and talk to them and have conversation with them if I was an introvert. And they're like, well, you could be
Right.
a social introvert. And I'm like, you're also right about that.
But wait. Wasn't introvert and extrovert always about social? So what's that bullshit qualifier?
Well, because at some point, introvert and extrovert was about how social you are, and then the definitions once again got changed about like how does your energy change when you're around people. Some people they like to be around people. They get energy from being around people, and now they've deemed that as extrovert.
Mhm.
And then there's people who have their energy drained when they're around people, have to go recharge solo, and then come back. So it's like
Right.
a back and forth, and that's called being an introvert. And then there's a
That's what
weird
I
there's a weird
don't
middle
like
space.
though. Exactly. You're allowed to be both. Like, there are people and situations that recharge me. There are people and situations that drain me. There are times when I'm alone where I feel my own battery dropping.
Right.
There are times
Right.
when I'm alone where I feel my battery packing back up. Like,
Right.
yeah. Oh man, I hate
Yeah.
polarities. They're fun and they're cool to play with, but when we
They're
don't,
fun to play with, yes. I think
yeah.
trying to use them in a serious way is like hard and or like weird. Um I want to talk about your business because
Okay.
you just kind of gloss over that. Um but but what the business is new though. The business is like kind of new, right? So like
The
what
business is new. I'm
so how
like
has that process been?
deep in, but it's wild to think. It started February 2025.
Mhm.
Um, when I left my big girl job as a staff psychologist to start my own practice. And I would say it's going swimmingly. I'm having so
Mhm.
much fun. I feel so grateful to be able to say that I'm having fun at work and building a business, especially because I have so many colleagues who still are like in the big girl job situation that I was in,
Mhm.
and they're not having a good time. Um, so yeah, from that standpoint, I'm really grateful that the way that I get to earn my living and build my wealth and support my family um, brings me so much joy.
Mhm.
Also, I feel like that's probably not what you wanted me to say, but that's
No,
what I said.
that's all very interesting because my question was going to be, and I'm open to just asking the questions here and you giving the answers that you want to give versus
Yeah.
like I ask one and then you just go. But I wanted to ask like how like was there any sort of like fear or concern, hesitation around the decision, um, or did it kind of just feel right to do and you just kind of did it?
hmm Um, yeah, I think it was more the latter. The interesting thing is that I never thought I would go into private practice. I
Mm,
was in grad school for 8 years on campus, 9 years for my internship, 10th year of postdoc, right? So I spent a lot of time being a student and getting this degree
mhm,
and all the things that come with it. Um, and the whole time there was all this language of like, don't be an island, don't work for yourself, don't work by
mhm,
yourself, don't isolate. Also, private practice is hard and you won't make money because there's so much
mhm,
overhead and da 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 da. And so it was just never something I considered,
yeah,
partly because of the warnings, but also because when I was in my training environment, I really loved working on teams. I
mhm,
was constantly like a part of a medical team and I loved that environment. I loved providing care where I was collaborating for the client, for the patient with all these other people who were supporting them and like actually coming up with something cohesive. That was one of my favorite things to do.
mm,
So private practice didn't make sense, right?
yeah,
You don't do private practice in a like your own medical environment. I couldn't do that
mhm,
um, with a team at least. Um, and then I the situation at my job got so untenable and so out of alignment with my values that I I still distinctly remember the conversation I was having with the client at that job. They had stopped services with me to pursue other things. They had called me back to see when they could get back on my schedule.
mhm,
And full disclosure, I was at the VA. It was during the time where there were potentially going to be a lot of budget and staff cuts
mhm,
soon after Trump's inauguration. And I was also working in a fully remote role.
yeah,
So there was a lot of questions around, will remote roles even exist,
mhm,
or what will happen to them? And I was working not just like a local and remote, I was working in a different part of the country,
mhm,
um, providing telehealth. And so this person acknowledged that on the phone. This client was like, well, I want to come back in July, but will you even be here?
mhm,
And we both got kind of tearful.
mm,
And I remember being so struck by like, what a shitty position that veteran was in to have to say, like, I don't even know if my provider will be here because of what the system is doing.
yeah,
And I had this thought in my mind of like, well, wait a minute. I'm a psychologist, which means I'm eligible for this program called PsyPact, which lets me deliver telehealth to many places in the country, including where
mhm,
this human lives. Why? couldn't I just have my own practice that they come to
Mm-hmm.
come that time?
Yeah.
And just that thought kind of set the whole train rolling.
Mm.
And I have to be honest, I didn't really question it. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess this is what we're doing. Like, I'm not going, I knew in my gut, like, and my brain, I'm not going to drive into a federal campus building
Mm-hmm.
in my state when I work 2 time zones away to do
Mm-hmm.
the same thing I could do at home. That my family also invested in rehabbing our home so that I could build an office to do that work. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, no, this is not the path I'm walking.
Yeah.
Um, I feel really blessed to have a strong sense of conviction.
Mm-hmm.
I deeply honor and appreciate that not everybody naturally feels that. But it's definitely something that I think really, I mean, it's changed my life in lots of ways, but this is one of those ways in particular where it's like I could leap and do it with the fear anyway
Yeah.
because the conviction was so strong, you know. And I am also incredibly fortunate that, you know, at the time I wanted to make this leap, I had a spouse with a full time job,
Mm-hmm.
who also could have potentially been impacted by government changes,
Mm-hmm.
but fortunately wasn't. And the
Yeah.
threat was never terribly high. So it was like, okay, we can make this leap. At the time, we were living well below our means. It was before we had bought the home that we're in now. So, like, everything lined up
Mm-hmm.
for me to be able to kind of take that risk. Um, and it's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's been really great.
No, I'm so happy for you with that. I
Thank you.
realized when I was planning this talk that I really wanted to ask you that because I never really got to, like, we were talking around when it happened and everything, but I didn't know, we never really talked about why or how. And
Yeah.
as I know, I fall prey to a lot of knowledge baiting for myself, and by that I mean I think I want the knowledge before I do the action. And I think I need to have more and more and more knowledge, and that will make the fear and the anxiety and the hesitations that
Mm-hmm.
I have and everything like that. It'll lessen that. I'll be more confident, and then I can take the leap.
Yep.
And so it was really cool to hear you have the conviction of no, this just that it felt right, and I did it. And I didn't really think about it where I'm like other people who maybe are still in that that role that you left where I'm here, I don't like it, I want to do something else, I don't know what that is, nothing feels right, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm currently doing, I don't want to do what I'm currently doing, right? Because there's been a lot of like times when I've been asking multiple people like, do you want to start your own tax practice? And I was like, I don't want to do taxes, I really don't.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you want to do? And you know similarly, not 11 years of getting a degree, but maybe like 5 of like all that time and like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I did all that. I worked 6 years at where I am now. It'll be 7 by the time maybe I do something about it. So it's like all that time and experience and then to completely do something else, like nothing ever feels right because it's like logic on this side and emotion on this side of like they don't line up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really cool to talk to somebody who it lined up for, in a sense, right? I
Yeah, I
have
didn't have the burden of figuring out what else to do,
hmm
right? It was just
yeah,
essentially like
continue what
I
I'm
I
doing.
right, I kind of had this light bulb moment of like, oh shit, I'm literally already doing my job virtually. I could just
hmm
do it for myself.
Yeah,
Right now, obviously
exactly.
there are other problems. I have to like figure out where the clients come from and
Yeah.
all that jazz and risk doing it alone.
hmm
um
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I think that's really cool. How I want to fast forward a little bit now, and also to touch on something that you just so you said like 30 minutes ago now, but you said haha funny, you created a product called Regulate, and I wanted to ask you about like the framing around the idea generation around it, like what it is,
Mhm.
and why do you market it as such and things like that, like what
Yeah.
is it?
What is it? It is part education, part practice of nervous system regulation tools. So it is, I always share with folks that when it comes to nervous system regulation, the active ingredient is your breath,
Mm-hmm.
right? At everything that people advertise about how to access nervous system regulation, how to feel in your body, all beautiful, not knocking any of it. But what's actually changing you physiologically is your breath.
Mm-hmm.
So, regulate didn't start as regulate. Regulate
Mm-hmm.
started as me creating practices for my clients who were constantly telling me, Anahita, breathing is uncomfortable. I hate it. I know I'm doing it wrong. I know I need it, but it just is not working.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, they must be starting at the totally wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting with someone who is giving them like a generic diaphragmatic breathing exercise
Right,
because,
like they're doing box breathing or some other version of it that that I saw in a video online or whatever.
right, exactly. Whereas what they really needed was to even figure out how to notice and sit with the breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like the starting place is not try to relax. The
Mm-hmm.
starting place is be over here and just notice what the hell is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I created a series of practices for my clients that were primarily focused just on their breathing. And the idea
Mm-hmm.
was to move them in teeny tiny baby steps from awareness and noticing of the breath and the body to actually working up to like a 20-minute relaxation exercise.
Mm-hmm.
But that was happening across, I want to say 10 or 12 tracks.
Okay.
And I told them, like, I want you practicing every track essentially until it bores you or until you like feel really confident that you're ready for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And so the idea behind it is for a lot of people managing chronic pain, who is mostly who I work with, right? They've got um their stress system is in overdrive, right? Their nervous
Mm-hmm.
system is in overdrive most of the time. Maybe because of other chronic stressors, maybe because of a traumatic history that impacted their nervous system. Also, sometimes just because pain is hella stressful.
Yeah.
And so that itself has changed their nervous system
Oh my
functioning.
God, they're stressed about being stressed. That's so stressful.
That is so stressful. So they needed a really soft ramp.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I wanted to offer. And then it kind of evolved into I think there's more people that might need this. And I just want to package it so they can have it if they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Regulate itself, as I kind of developed this program, I was realizing some people might not even be able to sit with their breath only. And so I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to give kind of other access points or doorways, if you will. So all of the practices, if you're kind of doing them with their intention, you're gonna slow your breath down. You're gonna regulate your nervous system in that way, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean regulate as some perfect state. Maybe I should rephrase as down regulate, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's escalated in a sympathetic or stress response, you'll nudge that response down a little bit, whether you get into relaxation or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of them are guided visualization exercises. Like you asked me earlier about what do you do when two people are dysregulated?
Yeah.
Well, I actually have a guided visualization of co regulation. What do you do when you're borrowing from someone else's nervous system that is healthy, that is
Mm.
working well, that is balanced and steady?
Yeah.
Um, there's one that's all about paying attention to your environment and your steps while you walk. It's a walking meditation. There are some that teach people specific breathing. So, like even breathing, I don't think it's box breathing specifically, but it's the
Yeah.
same principle. Or the 4-7-8 breath, which is my favorite sort of rescue breath
Mm-hmm.
practice. Are you familiar with that one?
Is it? First of all, no, I'm not familiar with it. I'm just like I'm just shooting from the hip right now. Um, is it
I
four?
saw
Is
it
it four
in
in,
your
seven
face.
pause, eight out?
It is, but it's 4 in through the nose, 7 hold at the top, like you said, and 8 out through the mouth, pursed lips.
I was gonna say through the mouth, but I did not think about pursed lips.
You didn't say it,
I didn't say it.
and you didn't, yeah.
So therefore, yeah, no, don't worry. I'm still wrong. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you're still wrong.
But no, that's fair. Okay.
Yeah. And so the other thing that was sort of like a happy accident in Regulate is that I recorded a bunch of videos about why this shit works.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is stuff that you and I are actually talking about right now, just kind of a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And like talking about why does the nervous system even change? How
Mhm.
do we get here to the point where we're not breathing right, or that
Yeah.
breathing is really uncomfortable,
Yeah.
or that relaxation stresses us out? Um, but I think the other truth of who can benefit from this is those people who know that they're running on overdrive, know that they probably should be taking a break, know
Mhm.
that they should slow down somewhere, but they don't have that toolkit. They don't feel like
Yeah.
they have accessible slowdown points. All they know is push, 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 hustle, get the thing done, just one more thing, just 5 more minutes. And you need a counterbalance.
Ooh,
Like this can,
can we sit in that real quick? Because
yeah.
you just lit up my life. Oh, by the way, we are an hour into the conversation, and for people who are either regulars here or have heard me talk about this in the past, um, I have referred to as one of the more impactful conversations that I've had this year has been, hey, somebody close to me, I was talking to them and they gave me a gut punch back in January about um, how to reach out to people on the podcast and be confident about it and reframe the idea from I don't know if they want to talk to me to people want to talk to me, reach out and ask them or whatever it is, and then do the follow-ups. Oh yeah, Anahita's the one who punched me. So yeah. So that's a little bit of a face to a concept there. I wanted to touch on what you were just talking about like the go go go, just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because this is one that I'm very intimately familiar with, being a not recovering but aware perfectionist. Um, but you know, I have Fableware, I have the podcast, I have the book account, and for some reason, I cannot let myself let go of any of them, knowing full well that letting go of one would create space and energy for me to either put into the others or just take that back for myself,
Yeah.
and not even put it into anything, put it into whatever comes to my mind at the time and things like that, right? But there is something about like the idea of I can't let it go because I haven't done enough. Yeah, I can't let it go because um, it could work, or if I just keep going, maybe I'll strike the luck meets opportunity idea. And if I stop now, then I'll never get it. But if I don't stop, something I might happen somewhere, whatever it is, and just never like and just holding on so tight.
Yeah.
Um, for people
How
like that, how do you frame that conversation?
well, it depends how woo you want me to be in my answer. um, yeah, you want a practical answer? You want a woo answer?
Yeah, I'm down for the woo.
Okay. Um, some people are designed from an energetic standpoint to have the energy and the motor to keep pushing. They're
Hmm.
literally the people who make the world go round.
Hmm.
Some people are designed to be at rest, be dormant, if you will, until they are directly invited to display their gifts.
Hmm.
Some people are designed to deliver the news from the mountaintop, deliver the new idea, and then disperse it for those other people to figure it out and then go back into hibernation. Some people are meant to um, bop around from idea to idea. Those are all different people, and the majority of the world are the ones who are meant to kind of make the wheels turn. And I think the people who aren't in that bucket are constantly swept up by the shoulds of, but I should keep going. What if I just
Hmm.
haven't hit the luck opportunity stride? What if I just haven't hit the next big great idea? What if I'm just one opportunity away? And I think there's so much out there about that too, right? Like you look at any struggle to success story and it's like, and then
Hmm.
they just kept going.
Yeah, like my favorite story, which it prevents me from stopping, but I do love the story, is one of my gurus is Alex Hormozy, and he was doing his podcast, The Game, and his daily YouTube videos for 7 years as he was doing all his actual
Mhm.
life, where he had businesses, and then at some point he got burned by a partner, and he lost all his money like 3 times over, and then had to restart, and like restarting 4, 5, 6 times, 7 times. And then the year that I found him was like 2022, was also the year that he ended up blowing up. And he's like, I was doing this for 7 years beforehand.
Hmm.
Before I even got to the point where I quote unquote blew up, and now I have the opportunity to do this stuff, and I can pivot and do different things and everything like that. So it's like, you know, the one thing he kept up, the way I reframe it is like, the one thing he kept up was like the daily videos to people, because he was like,
Hmm.
I if I can share at least one thing today that will help somebody else, I can't go to sleep without doing that. But the things that he changed all the time around was like this business or this business or that
Yeah.
business or this thing. So like there's so much tumultuous stuff in his life, but there's one that constant, right? And so I think about that as like, you know, I don't have to keep all 3, 4, 5, 6 things going, and they can just stop or drop. Or I can say this was fun for when I did it, and it was fun, but there are other things that I want to do, and
Mm.
this has to go, and that's okay.
Right. And that's the kind of practical answer I would offer is what you're doing right now the thing that's likely to get you where you want to be? I think there's a part of you that knows spinning three plates in the air is not the one that's going to sort of like fill the magical menu,
Mhm. Yeah.
right? That your energy is split. And so if you
Yeah.
divided it less, would you have more to give
Mhm.
somewhere else? I mean, the basic math is yes.
Mhm.
um, but again, I come back to this idea that you don't have to borrow everything from someone else's strategy,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
One theme you named in Alex's journey was consistency,
Mhm.
but your consistency doesn't have to look like his consistency.
I'm so inconsistently consistent. I love that about
Ye-
myself. I hate it. I
Good.
hated it about myself. I love that about myself in a more humorous way
I
now.
was just about to say, maybe if there were actually more compassion towards your inconsistencies, you wouldn't feel so much friction when you're
Mhm.
inconsistent because you're still holding an expectation that you should be.
Yeah.
Hello, Razor.
What would that razor look like? I am I'm a person who will consistently show up.
Well, you already wrote, I don't stick to my word.
That's so fair. That's
So,
that's so that's so right though. That's so right though. I don't. And the only word that I've stuck to is I'm not stopping. I think that's like the only word in my life that I've stuck to, is like I'm not stopping. Um, which actually, funny enough, goes is the opposite of my most recent Substack article, where I talked about the one time that I stopped, and then I'm reaping the consequences right now. Um, but
razors are hard in that way, right? Like,
mhm,
how do you write one into existence that really truly applies to your goals, your highest self, your values?
mhm,
And that's actually, I don't tell my clients that this is what I call it, but I call it word magic in my
yeah,
mind, right? That like the words and the phrases that we choose can have that kind of potency.
mhm,
Not to the extent of like, if you think it, you've done it, right? I don't
yeah,
mean like that. But if we acknowledge that our thoughts are powerful, let's use that power for good.
yeah,
And so, like in your example, okay, how do we write that statement that like honors your inconsistency as this lovely gift, as your
mhm,
superpower, so to speak? Um, I rest before I act.
yeah. We've talked about that before.
I accept invitations that help me feel successful. I get to define what consistency means to me.
Mm,
That's my other thing about rules. I'll admit, the framework I'm referencing around people's energetic makeup is human design for those who might be
mhm,
familiar. And my design is one of the types that is like go, 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 keep things going, keep things moving. Um, and even then, right, I kind of my energy experience through life and like learning what works for me and what doesn't work for me is that I like rules. I like to have
Mhm.
parameters, but the rules
Mhm.
have to be allowed to change.
Yeah.
Like a rule that doesn't work anymore, what good is it?
Mhm. Yeah, I
So,
think it's like we get caught up in people who like, "I've had this rule since XYZ date, and I'm where I am now because of this rule," or whatever, right? But it's like in a more common setting, your life changes, you change, and therefore it's very common for the rules to also change, and they should, and that's fine.
also, right, if we even think about this notion, you said for 7 years, Alex was posting videos or something, right? I'm not intimately familiar with this story, so I'm borrowing from what you named. But you also named some other pretty big life changes that happened.
Mhm.
How can we say those didn't have an influence?
Yeah.
Right? Relationships beginning, relationships ending, those are usually pretty pivotal for people,
Mhm.
right? Those are spaces where we encounter a lot of emotional growth and drive and pain and whatever else. So that kind of comes back to what we were talking about before, right? That you never know like what accumulation of small choices like leads you to some outcome.
Mhm.
I think that's also just a personal philosophy I hold, which I'm sure drives my business coach crazy. Is like, well, I don't always want to plan,
Yeah.
right? I don't always want to know exactly what's going ahead. I'm just kind of moving with trust that if I pick the thing that lights me up right now and that feels good right now and is values congruent right now,
Yeah.
it's going to stack up and like nudge me to the right place.
Mhm. Yeah, I get that.
Why are you so hard on yourself, bro?
I mean, I feel like if you want a real answer, I feel like if I don't, no one else will, and I genuinely feel like there's a lot more that I could, can, and could, can, should, will, whatever do. But the only way to do that is to hold myself to a standard that feels unrealistic and unattainable. So
Mm-hmm.
when I fall at the level that I know that I actually want. It's like the shoot for the 100, you get like 99, 98,
Right.
97.
Are you hitting 99 and 97 and feeling good about it?
I think it depends on when and where. And like I think there's like situational things with that where,
Mm.
you know, reaching out to Dr. Umar Qureshi down in uh SoCal the other time to call her on the podcast felt like
Yeah.
one of those. I hit like 100 because she's super cool. I reached out first, but she was like, "This would be so cool. Thank you for like asking me," and things like that. Where I'm the one that like this person's at a much higher pedestal than I am, and I'm the one who should be thanking them to like come on and stuff. And so
Yeah.
that little reframing of like, oh, this person's also psyched to do this thing with me, felt like a
Mhm.
100 because of all the different like 95s and 94s and all the different things I'd done up until then. I um I I'd signed up for that creators thing that you sent me, and I've been working through all of that, and I don't even know if it's the influence of that, but just have been videos have been doing better, and I've been feeling like, when one pops, I don't look at it and think like, "Man, now all the other ones have to pop." It's like, "Oh, that's really cool. I was gonna
Mhm.
keep doing whatever else I was doing anyway, because this is cool." Or maybe I'll try and recreate that later, but I'm not immediately thinking about it like, "Oh, now every single one of the ones that I do now has to be at
Yeah.
that level." Gosh. Um, so I've definitely like started to feel a lot more gratitude in the spikes. I just feel like there was a time when like nothing was spiking, but nothing felt good. And right
Mhm.
now, a lot of the time it doesn't feel good, but the spikes help me like feel good about. I feel like if it's spiking, it's not going down to where it was, but it's like a slightly higher like plateau, and it's going to spike again and then go into a bit higher of a graph,
Slightly
right?
higher. Yeah.
That's how I assume things are going. Once again, I don't know. Um, I'm doing all this on my own. I don't have anybody helping me. I don't have anybody telling me what to do, how to do it, what's the best way to be successful, and all that stuff. It's just figure it out on your own. And I know that I by doing that I'm gonna maybe encounter more ambiguity, uncertainty, pain, um, all that stuff. But that's just the path for now. And then
Yeah.
I'll just
I'm
trust that it'll work out.
thinking about the thing you said about like I have to put the bar way higher than I think I'm going to reach so that if as long as I keep going there, then I'll get to like
Hmm.
what's
Still a
actually
good
the
bar. Yeah.
acceptable. Yeah, or good
Yeah.
bar. Here's the question that popped up in my head when you said that. Isn't life hard enough already?
My life wasn't. It is now. Um, but when I was started doing these things, my life was very easy, and I needed something. Or at least I feel like maybe I needed something to like
Mm,
be difficult in life, because there's other parts of life that are very easy, or
yeah.
I feel like I could very well walk through life easily, and I don't want that. I don't think that's a factor of like how I grew up. I think it's a factor of who I've become, of like I just don't want an easy life. I know I want a good life. I want friends and family around me. I want to read. I want to chill. I want to be happy. I just want an easy life.
Yeah. What does
Um,
easy mean? Why is easy something not to want?
I feel like if I'm not, how do I put this? When I was just working full time as an associate, um, I was living at home at the time during COVID. Then I moved back to Dallas. I was living with a roommate. I was working in the mornings. I could go for a walk, come back home. I would work from home, go to the gym, come back, talk to my roommate, talk to my uh, wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, because she was like we were doing long distance. But it just felt like the days kind of became predictable. Things weren't really hard or difficult to do. I was at a point in my health and fitness journey where like I'd done it for so long that it was easy to meal prep and plan food and things like that. It was easy when I was doing like, I would still set goals of like, I want to do this calisthenic movement, or I want to do this thing, but it was easier to achieve those things based on 5 years of college, forcing myself into the gym and grinding to have that strength and technique. And um, so physically, I felt great. I'd let go of the desire to be like to battle when I would dance. So I was perfectly content with, if I'm dancing with friends and we're in a cipher, I'm very happy with that. So that was also easy. There was no strife in dancing or like leveling up or trying to be better. So there's no, and so life just felt like, okay, cool. Anything that I want to do, I can easily get to it. Really, it just felt like that. And I didn't specifically choose to create content as like this will be the most difficult thing I ever do in my life. I legit thought, oh, if I can do all those other things, I could probably also do this.
Hmm.
Um, and then I started learning all the things that go around with it. Oh, I'm really bad at this. Get better. I don't pay attention to these things. Could get better. I want this goal, but that requires these inputs that I'm not the best at. Requires the grind time and all that stuff.
Right.
Um, and then life got a little bit more difficult because of self-imposed rules and self-imposed goals and things like that. But it felt like, okay, I'm actually working towards something again. I'm not just like going through life.
Yeah.
But once things stopped feeling fun, or like there are times when I'm like, is this actually the goal that I want? My most recent thing actually has been, and I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, but a couple of maybe like end of last year, I was talking to some friends and I was asking them like, if you could build anything, what would you want to build? Don't worry
Mm.
about like money's not an issue. Like what would you make if you could make it? My friends answered that my buddies had their answers. My wife had her answer. One of them asked me finally, um, and I hadn't actually thought about the answer. I just wanted to ask them
For
the question.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, because there have been times that I like come into like situations where I ask them the question. They're like, "Did you just ask us this because you want us to ask it to you?" And I'm like, "Sometimes, yeah." Um, I want to
This
be and
time, really, no.
I want to be invited to answer, but this thing I didn't
Of
have an
course.
answer for.
Yeah.
But I thought about it and I was like, I really want to build something that helps all of my friends achieve what they want to do, and that hasn't changed in like a year at
Hmm.
least. I still think about it right now. And then once I felt like this actually is something that I want to do. It's not just like a frivolous answer. It was actually like maybe my like the thing that I want to do in life is like build something that helps all my friends in some way, form, or fashion.
Hmm.
Um, I was like, is what I'm doing now helping me with that? And the answer was no.
Hmm.
Um,
Which doing, so to speak,
Vaporware
were
is
you
not helping me with
using?
that in any way, form, or fashion. To be honest with you,
Okay.
it's more of a personal project that is teaching me in the smallest of ways with the smallest of monetary losses. How do you run a business, this type of business,
Hmm.
online clothing, retail, whatever it is,
Right.
right?
Product
There's different
based.
inputs and outputs and mechanisms. I'm
Yeah.
learning a lot. We just got to the ad point, and I'm learning so much about ads and things that are like, oh yeah, I've heard this in the past, but never implemented it, so I never remembered it. So I'm thinking about like, okay, so if I'm running ads and all this stuff, right? So like, it's cool.
Mm.
It's actually kind of cool that I've gotten to this point finally, and I'm actually like thinking about it in like a nice way, and I'm like, I have to do this way. But Vaporware isn't helping me with that right now. Like, cool, if I could make something out of it, yeah, maybe the money from that would help me put into something else. But it's made $0 in 3 years. And then the book content doesn't really help me with that. It helps me with maybe like getting to know more people and getting to
Hmm.
practice content and practice the tools of creating good videos and engaging hooks and storytelling and things like that. But there's not a direct link of like how that can help my friends do their things, um, because I'm really only talking to people who read books and things like that, and I haven't really connected with people outside of that.
Yeah.
The thing that I thought was like this isn't helping, but it could, was a podcast where I was like the building of a network that I could maybe rely upon. That like if my friend starts something and I'm like I don't know, but I may know somebody who does, and I can reach back out to a guest that I had on here or somebody that I've talked
Hmm.
to in the past and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that would be a way to help them is can I build the most robust network of people that can help directly my friends and what they want to do? Because I also have friends who have ambitions, and I was talking to one of them, and he's like, I feel like I really want to do something again because I've been chilling for too long. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Um, like I feel like there's a huge value. I value life more because of the struggle that I've had in it than like the easy parts of it.
Yeah.
Because so yeah, I don't directly see anything that I'm doing right now as being able to benefit them. This is the closest one, but it is also the one that is harder to pull off.
Hmm.
It's harder to pull this off than I expected to. Whether it's a lack of my knowledge on how to pull it off, or my time hasn't come yet, and I'm simply incubating still. All those things, but um, that's also why like, I don't want to stop it, right? Because like I see each of these things as value in some way, a
Right.
lesson to be taught, something to learn, something to do, where um, I just don't want to. Even though I could, and I honestly I should stop Fableware, to be completely frank with you, because whatever I'm learning now is cool, it's fine, whatever it is, but the time and effort that goes into it and what I'm getting out of it just isn't equitable and could be used somewhere else.
I was just about to
Um,
ask you, is it fun?
I think it's fun when I have those moments of like I have these new design ideas and I can make them and I can talk to the
Hmm.
artist and make them, and it's even more fun when I can sometimes like authors that I like read and stuff. I'll read their work and I'll be inspired to like have a design and work with the artist on it completely unprompted by the author. They don't even know that I'm doing this. I just want to do it.
Hmm.
Um, and then I can like share that with them. I'll be like, your book made me feel this way, and I wanted to make this based off your book. It's a design. Um, and in no way am I thinking like, oh, I hope they let me put on a shirt and collaborate with me, and I can have like an author line or whatever it is. It's just like I just want to do this, and that's what makes it fun. Is the business side of it? Could it be a business? Yes, it could. It could very much
Yeah.
be one. But um, the business side of it isn't what like I have fun with. It's the creative side of it. And
Hmm.
so I've tried to offload the business side as much as I can, try and make the decisions and have somebody else implement them. But I'm getting to that point of like, you need to make some actual business moves if you want to make this something. Because if you don't, then you should just really just stop and keep it as a creative project, but don't keep it as something that stays on your mind weekly, daily, whatever it is.
Yeah.
all that
That
stuff.
part's so hard, right? When you're
It's
kind
very
of
hard.
you're excited about something and to sunk cost also, right? Which you already named, it's not terrible, but just in general, this notion of, well, I've already invested X time and effort
Mm-hmm.
and money or
Mm-hmm.
calendar years, you know?
Yeah. So it's things like that. And I like talking about this because I feel like the more I talk about it, the less it stays in my mind. I'm a big ruminator.
Mm,
I have a lot of issues with it where I will worst case scenario things, or I will talk myself out of things, or I'll logic through things that are emotional, and I'll emotion through things that are logical. And if I just talk it out, like I just need to talk it out, which is interesting. Going back to one of the first things you said on the conversation was talking the example of somebody who just doesn't talk much because of certain
yeah.
experiences they've had, and they have a comfortability inside. If I don't talk, bad things don't happen or aren't said or whatever it is, and so I just stay quiet. And um, it feels like that doesn't serve me anymore because by talking is when action happens versus
Hmm.
by not talking and just thinking about it, nothing happens. Um, so that's kind of where that's been. I will
Yeah.
say now that you just got me talking,
I was gonna say, are
I'm just
you
gonna
about to
talk right
like
now.
debut a decision or something?
Not a decision, but I will say something that I've learned recently, and I don't know. There's this idea that I have about myself that I don't know if it's true or false or right or wrong or whatever it is, but it's just an idea, and it could be true, it could be not. It's fun to chew on. Of like, while I want life to move faster because I feel like the current pace is slowing down everything. Moving fast means like getting up and doing the thing and acting. And there's times when I'm like, I just want life to be a bit slower right now, so I don't act. And then I'll have the energy to for life to start running, and then make all these decisions, do all these things, whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, cool, life is moving too fast, maybe, and I have to slow it back down. And it's this like fast and slow effect of life that I've been like playing with of like, well, how do I really want life to progress? Because if I want life to
Yeah.
move faster, I have to act with speed, act with urgency. I'm not an urgent person at
Hmm.
all. Never
Where
have
does
been.
the notion of like life moving faster come from? Why? Why should it?
Like for example, right? When it comes to like work or content or favorware, there are decisions that I could make in one day and I can do those that day, and then the next day is just a new decision, a new action. But it's like I'll have a thought on Monday, but I won't implement the thought till Friday. And it's like there's 5 days of nothing that really happened.
Hmm.
Um, where it's like I don't feel like it's not happening because I feel like there's like a weird um mental block there, or uh, it's happening for an adverse reason, not happening because I just want life to slow down. It feels like I'm forcing life to slow down because I don't want to go fast in that moment. But then there's other weeks where I'm like, well, if I just gone faster, then I would be where I kind of want to be starting off right now. And this next week,
Mm,
and I can like
yeah.
I can hit the ground running again. And so it's like sometimes I'm like, why don't you want to do the work that you tell yourself you want to do? Why don't you do the things that you write down on your to-do list that you want to do? Why they're not hard to do. It takes 5 minutes to do one thing, and you can just check it off. And why do
Yeah.
you want to just keep it in your head? Why do you want that why do you want that full brain as opposed to
Right.
that as opposed and then what and then similarly, why do you want that full brain but then go numb the emotions of work and anxiety and wanting to do things by just watching YouTube and just sitting on the couch and doing nothing?
Yeah.
Right? Like
Because it's easy.
why do you it's comfortable, right?
Hmm.
But then if you want the comfort, then why do you have these high goals? If you want the comfort. If you don't want the
Yeah.
comfort, then so it's this like thing that I've been playing with of figuring out the speed of life that I want right now.
Yeah. I think there is like a lot of helpfulness at times to this, like, just do it kind of philosophy. Particularly when I'm working with people who are coping with depression, it can feel like it's a mountain that's sitting on you or
Mhm.
like that you have to climb.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes what can trip people up is this notion of like, oh my gosh, I'm so far down in the valley. How am I ever going to get back up to the peak?
Mm-hmm.
So, for one, right, changing the perspective, like maybe let's not torture ourselves with how far away we are from the peak, but what's the next step right in front of me?
Yeah.
And do I care enough to be willing to commit to that next step, even if it sucks?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I've had seasons of life where I've experienced depression, and one of the markers is I did not put weeks of laundry away.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm thinking about a thing like that, it's like, okay, which discomfort do I want? Looking at the laundry that won't go away, or suck it up, buttercup, and just put this away.
Mm-hmm.
And what ends up happening is the feedback loop starts to change.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, oh, I did that and it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Or I did it and it really sucked, but at least the clothes are put away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't have to like iron something the next day because it was wrinkled.
Mm-hmm.
And then the tiny steps, right,
Right.
like turn into this climbing. And then like all of a sudden you have path to look down on because you've moved.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. I realize I might be contradicting my own point around consistency. But I think like ultimately what I want for people is live the life you want, pursue the goals you have and the drive and desire that you have without beating yourself up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it, but there is such thunderous thunder outside that it is shaking my house. Like
No.
I felt my floorboards like shake, and I was like, we're just gonna keep going and see what happens. But guys, I think this is a good place to stop the conversation.
Guys, you need to know what our lies are.
You do need to know what our truths and lies are. So let's go over them one more time. So Anahita's truths and lies. She has 10 tattoos. She was born in India, and she's not a cat person.
Now I do you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Arish is addicted to working. Arish has a yellow belt in Taekwondo. And Arish has known me since I was a freshman in high school.
So my lie is that I'm not addicted to working, which we had talked
Is it,
about
guys? Is
previously.
it?
We had talked about previously, like, I think that's a false lie of I don't think I'm addicted to working.
Guys, I full on yelled at him.
Yeah.
When
Yeah. She was like, I don't think that's a lie. I'm like, I feel like that's a lie because I don't like to work. And she's like, there's a difference between. Anyways, I think that's the lie.
Oh, you're going to cut off my good point that there's a difference between what we do and what we want to do and what we're addicted to?
That's fair. Yes, that's a good point. But yes, I am a yellow belt in Taekwondo. And I have known you since you were a freshman in high school because
I was not born in India. I was born in the United States, though our families are both from India.
Yeah.
And his moved to my neck of the woods when I was in high school.
Yeah, it was a good time. Shout out Buttons.
Shout out Buttons.
I think that Buttons
That's
off.
my TED Talk, you guys. Relatedly.
Yeah, that is also the only dog that I ever played with in my life that I enjoyed actually like hanging around.
I'm sorry, you didn't enjoy playing with Sophia?
We didn't really get that much time playing with her.
Rude.
Because I think you got her when you were in like internship or whatever.
I was in grad school. It was my second year in Greensboro. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I got like a week or a weekend with her when I was in Memphis.
Yeah, fair. And so I'm a dog person.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's also a dog person. Big dog person.
And yes, I have 10 tattoos, although I have sat down for more because I've had some redos.
Do you want more, or are you kind of like comfortable with the ones you have now?
Oh, always want more. Yeah. Who doesn't want more? Right? I think once you get 2, then you want more.
I see.
People can hang at 1 for a while. But yeah, as just the like brown parents part of the story in the brown parents bloopers part of this podcast.
Yeah.
My parents came to visit me a couple of months ago. I had 2 new ones since they had last seen me. One is like a small one on my right leg. The other is a very large one on my left leg. and I was showing it to my mom. I hadn't told her that I told her I was getting the small one, but not the large one. So I like angled my body to walk in and show her the small one. And she has a reaction. I'm like, well, shit, here we go. And then I turn my body around to show her the next
Oh
one.
my God, that's funny.
And she's like, ugh.
Wow.
First question, Arish, would you like to guess what her first question or reaction was? It was a
How much did it
question.
cost?
No, that's a
Okay.
dad question.
That is a dad. Because I was literally thinking with what would my dad say? If we're thinking about a mom question, I would think, how bad did it hurt?
Nope. Does your husband like it?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I don't get those questions. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yay. Gender stereotypes. And then I went and showed my dad, and he was like, oh, that's so cool. Also, I met this girl who also had a large tattoo, and I asked her if I could take a picture and show you because I was like, my daughter really likes tattoos.
That is so aggressively dad. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But also,
honestly, though, like parents having like no shame in saying, talking to somebody because of the frame of my child also insert like
is into this
interest here. And it's
Yeah.
like everybody accepts that.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me.
Yeah. So that
That's
happened.
cool. That's
Brown
cool.
parent bloopers.
Brown parent bloopers.
You can add that as a new segment.
Guys, this was a great conversation. We went in many different places. We went all over the place, but we were also in the same place a little bit, kind of,
Also
sort
in
of.
the same place. Also, we didn't give one of our biggest reveals, which maybe no one actually cares about.
Oh, you want to reveal it?
Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I don't.
That we're related.
Oh no, because I said that after the I've known her since high school, and I said because we're cousins, as you were starting to talk about your truth and lie as well. So like that could, if it got buried, that's completely fine. Yeah, this is my cousin. Everybody, hi. Yeah, I've known her for years, most of my life,
for lots of years.
And so, yeah, I use her as a sounding board a lot.
Happy to be there.
Yeah,
happy to be here. Happy to be
sometimes I just need to be gut punched, and I'm happy that I can do this. Originally, I wanted to do this in person, so I was putting it off for so long because I really wanted it to be in person. But I think it's nice to do this now and then just do one when we can be in person.
Yeah,
at some point,
absolutely.
Kind of thing.
We can definitely do it again.
Before you go, I have 2 questions for you. 2 questions that I ask everybody who comes to the podcast. First one is, where can people find you if they want to keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Instagram as Dr.Anahita K, Anahita. And my website is alcovemh.com, like an alcove and mental health, mh.com. Awesome. And I'm going to share a link with you that will offer your listeners a discount for Regulate, a 20% discount.
Lovely. Yeah. Okay. The guys, I'll all be in the description. So if you want to use that link, it's in the description right now. Use it. Click on it.
Do it. I'm sorry. No pressure.
I'm pressuring you. Click on it. And the second question, which I ask everybody who comes to the podcast, is for people listening today, if there's one piece of advice that you'd like to give to somebody, what would it be?
Take a breath. Take a breath. Give yourself permission to pause. I think so often there's this sense of, well, I have to know right now. I have to know right away. I have to decide right away. I should already be there 10 years ago, right? So like when the pressure is mounting, just take a breath.
I hope you guys are really aware of your breathing right now. I guess, yeah, you guys are really thinking about how you're breathing, and now you're thinking about your breathing, aren't you? Right now. Exactly. Yeah, and now you're wondering, why is your breath too shallow, too deep? Are you holding it? Are you?
Guys, this is not the vibe of Regulate, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
Arish has no direct exposure to it, and this is not what it is like.
Anyways, I have to thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, we will catch you in the next one. Bye.